So I now want to introduce our special guest for tonight. About a month ago, I was part of a virtual event that had been planned to be in Montreal. We actually had 2 events that week that were supposed to be in Montreal. This is by a company called Mirasee, and that's Mirasee. And they teach people how to create online courses. And I am a business strategy coach there. And they have these events that one was for the members of the coaching program, and the other one was a lead-in to sell into their program. And so it's a free event called Lift. Well, they had 3 weeks notice, and they pulled it together so beautifully. And when I got on and I saw what Zoom looked like, because we did it on Zoom, it didn't look like any Zoom I'd ever seen before. And in fact, just to give you something to look at, not this second, because I want you to pay attention to what he's about to do. Save this link somewhere so you can go check this out. This is the sort of thank you video that they made afterwards. It really kind of does a nice job showcasing some of it. But you don't have to watch that, because we have Anthony with us from True Productions. And Anthony, will you unmute yourself so we can find you in the room and say hello? There he is. All right, you're not, I can't hear you yet. Yeah. Well, you're also, you're in your fancy
Can you guys
view.
hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, we can.
Good.
So do you want everyone to be in a particular view, or will that not matter?
If they'd like to pin me,
gallery, not in
that
gallery
would be
view,
fine. They can be in gallery view, and then you just go to my tile. If you spotlight me, that's an easy way to make sure that everybody sees.
Boom.
That would
All right,
work.
there we go. Here we are.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to just explain the difference between a pin and a spotlight.
Yes.
So pin is something that any participant can do. If you go and look on anyone else's drop down, that 3 dots in the top right corner of their video, you can pin their video. And that would mean that you would see them big, but that doesn't change that anyone else sees it. But as the host, I have another option, which is I can spotlight. So I just spotlight Anthony, and now everyone will see Anthony. So Anthony was the guy from the company that was behind all the magic that I saw. And I got to talk to him, got to know him a little bit. And he's going to do a little demo for about 15 minutes, taking your questions, showcasing, this is just one example. The software he's using is called Mimo Live, but I've also seen some really interesting things around overlays from Ecamm Pro and from Prezi. And so this is not a sales pitch for one particular software. It's just the one that he knows really well. All right, Anthony, take it away.
Hello, everybody. So thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you. What I just have right now is a typical setup that most of you are used to using, where my laptop camera, this is the camera that comes standard with my laptop, and then this is the piece of audio that is connected to my laptop. So almost everybody uses this kind of a setup when they're Zooming. And so Robbie came to me and said, look, I think it'd be really great if we could show people that for limited resources, they could totally transform how they look and how they sound and what they can do in a very dynamic and engaging way when they're doing their Zoom meetings. So with this typical setup, for a snowball microphone on Amazon for like $40, and for an adapter that you can connect to any camera that you have, we can go from this quality video and this quality audio to this quality audio and this quality video. So what I just did is I transitioned to a desktop quality microphone that's on right here in front of me. And then I also have a adapter. And this adapter connects any HDMI camera directly to my computer so that I can take advantage of bigger processors, bigger image sensors. When you use a camera that's this big, there's a reason it's so small. There's only so much that it can do. So I have this hooked up to a very professional camera that we use for our business, but the idea is the same, that it's just a single piece of technology that connects it to my computer. And so in order to showcase what that would look like, I have a different kind of a shot that I can pull up. So this is a 2-shot that I can go back and forth between my main camera and my 2-shot. So what I'm going to do is live in front of you, I'm going to turn my head slightly because I have a different monitor here, but I'm going to show you how I could dynamically either have a PowerPoint presentation running, or I could be pulling from anything. So I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to type in Ultra Studio Mini Recorder. So this little piece of device here, it's $145. And I can actually cut to that full screen if you'd like. So I'm just going to cut to that full screen for you. This is called the Ultra Studio Mini Recorder. So as just a little piece of advice, it has an SDI connection inbound and it has an HDMI connection inbound. This is spectacular because any camera pretty much that exists uses either SDI or HDMI. So it's also known as a capture card. So how do you go from the quality from your computer to a camera that you may have? It's called the Ultra Studio Mini Recorder. There's a ton of these out there. Amazon probably has about 60 or 70 that you can pick from. I like this one because I use a Mac computer. I can use the Thunderbolt connection. But the concept is that, and I'll actually go to a different shot so I can show you something else that you can do. But if I go back to my 2-shot, once again, this is the quality coming from a camcorder and a desktop mic. I can switch just like that to, this is now the audio coming from my Mac with the camera coming from my Mac. And then I have another kind of a shot that we can do. This is a 3-shot. And I'm pinned, so that's why I'm going to get that. Hold on a second. If I unpin let me pin Robbie here. Actually, cancel spot. There we go. So this is an example of something really fun. That's my daughter, Lena, that you just saw. So this is when you're using a switching software, and like Robbie said, there's a ton of them. Mimo Live is just one kind of product, but the concept is that you've got a piece of software that allows you to take any video source that the computer is crunching out and send it in as the camera of Zoom. That's really what I'm trying to get to here, is that the camera in Zoom, you can do what's called a virtual camera source. That's all I'm doing, is that technically I've got 2 cameras pointing at me right in the face, but I'm not actually telling Zoom to use any of those. I'm telling Zoom to use the software as the camera, which allows me to do all this cool stuff. So this is actually the rig, as you see it here. I have my laptop, and I was using this camera here. And then I have this really large and professional camera that's on a tripod, and that's the mini recorder. So this gigantic piece of cinematic beauty is just connected to this little adapter. And then that is therefore how I can get that quality. But
now,
when
Anthony,
you deal with it, yes, please.
Just to jump in and say that I'm sure there are people watching who are thinking that's a gorgeous camera. I don't have anything like that. But what are the other types of cameras? They might have a camera at home that they could do with this.
Right.
Like what are some other options that they might have?
Great question. So any kind of camera that you have lying around, my sister, as an example, had a Sony little handy cam that has an HDMI mini. There's now 3 different types of HDMI because people like really confusing you. So there's ultra, there's like mini HDMI, then there's micro HDMI, and then there's regular size HDMI. The good thing is that almost every camera that's made has some form of that HDMI. And then you just buy a little $9 adapter that allows you to convert the mini or the micro to a regular size. So any camera that has an HDMI, I'm talking like a Sony Handycam, Canon makes those Vixima series, any of those would do a lot better at low light and at just depth of field. So what really gives it the cinematic look that you're seeing right now is that the background is called bokeh. So the background has bokeh to it. I am in focus clearly. The background is clearly not in focus. If you can achieve that, and a lot of phones have that now with what's called portrait mode. If you've ever taken a picture with your iPhone in portrait mode, that's what it's doing. It's creating a digital bokeh for you. But I guess 2 major takeaways are that try to use a better camera, try to use a better piece of audio. And as a third piece that I can offer you, it's that your Zoom is just saying to you, what's the source of audio? and what's the source of video. I would challenge you to start trying to use a piece of software as this camera source for Zoom. That's all I'm doing, is that I have a bunch of stuff plugged into my computer, and then I have a little switcher software, and I'm telling the switcher what I want to display to Zoom. So Robbie and I had some more examples that I can share with you. So this is a side-by-side interview. You see me clearly. I'm in my frame. Robbie is in his frame, and there's some sort of a nice abstract background. I can change the colors. I can change the fonts. We can put in a different background. That's a nice 2-shot. I already kind of showed you that 3-shot, and this is a cool tip. All I'm doing here for my 3-shot is this is an iPhone that's connected with a cable to my computer, and then I open up the QuickTime app. And in QuickTime, it says, what's the source of video? And I say, I want you to use my iPhone's camera. So this is a shot outside of my window, and this is a shot of my computer. I'm literally holding my iPhone, and I could use it as a camera. So there's a lot of creative ways that might come into play. Another shot we had for you was...
Sorry, Anthony,
yes,
1 second.
Please, go ahead.
Can you put us back to the 2-shot?
I sure can.
Awesome.
Oh, that's my 2-shot. Sorry. There you go.
There we go. Okay, so I do not have Mimo Live. Mimo Live is what you're doing this with. And maybe before you do more shots, let's show them the behind the scenes. We're getting a lot of questions. I don't have to have it. You could actually right now grab somebody else, right? So
yes, I can.
Go put someone else in my spot.
Sure. So I'm going to pick Annette. I'm going to pin Annette. She's waving no, but sorry, it's going to happen. And then I'm going to take, so there you go. Now she's in the view. So I have the power to you see me I can move her into position. It's what's called desktop. There's these little windows that are called frames. And I could, as long as I can see it on my screen, I can take it and send it into the software. So I can take Jennifer and I can pin Jennifer. So now Jennifer is in my 2-shot. And she doesn't want to be in my 2-shot, so I can go back to Robbie. And then if Robbie's a little to the right, I can move him and get him into position. So now he's seated next.
So, and then of course you would change the name and all that and have it set up. So it was preset for my name if someone else came in.
Correct.
So go ahead and show the actual the desktop.
So the software itself?
Yeah,
sure.
Just so people get a sense.
I'm going to turn on a layer that I have called Mimo Software View. So I'm going to show you. It kind of looks like this. And I'm adding a layer for you guys. One moment. So this is kind of what the software looks like. It's kind of what I'm talking about before, where there's sources on the left. So everything in a computer or on Zoom, think of it in terms of what's the source of my audio, what's the source of my video, and then the way that this particular software works, it layers everything. And it's just layering it, nothing more than as you would think about layering on a dish or layering of terms of layers of video. It's just if whatever's on top is going to be seen, whatever's on the bottom is going to be seen last. So right now the Mimo software view is taking over. If I turn this off and don't make it live anymore and I go to web browser, now my web browser is view. So I can kind of show you that because the Mimo software view is on top of the web browser layer, when I turn this button off, the web browser is going to turn on. The reason that you're not seeing the web browser right now is because the software view is on top of it. It's above it. It has priority over it. So
awesome.
If I uncheck it, yeah, there you go.
Let's show a couple more some more of the views that you have, just to give people some ideas of, again, this is about thinking differently. I know that we're not teaching you how to do it specifically.
Correct.
I want you to know this exists and that it would take a little effort to learn how to do it yourself. But I think you told me it was like $20 a month to have Mimo Live.
Correct. Yes.
Ecamm Pro would give you some variation of like doing some, shots right here of an overlay. Some speakers do that kind of thing. And
yeah, so as an example, I can just put on an over-the-shoulder So this is a over-the-shoulder box, kind of like you see on John Oliver or anything like that. And then you can have these pre-made and ready to go. So if you knew that you were going to have a presentation, as an example, I could turn the camera a little bit over here, so the box is not interfering with me. As Robbie said, I got to know my left and right. But the box is right here. And then I can say, this could be a teaser, and then I'm going to cut to a video that's ready to go on my computer.
Watch
so
the quality of this video, guys.
Yeah. So the video is being pulled from the computer. I'm not trying to stream it from YouTube and then send it in. It's coming right from my computer. So here you go, 3, 2, 1.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yep. Now, if you noticed, I have some fun layers that I added. I have a logo bug layer, so I'll turn it off and on for you right now. You can kind of see that there's a little logo bug for my company's logo appearing and disappearing. Also, we could do lower thirds. So this is a lower third that comes up. I have complete control in the software. I don't have to do anything in Photoshop. I don't have to know how to do photo editing of any kind. The software tells me what's the name, what font do you want the name, what font do you want the background? Do you want a picture? If so, what's the picture? You just kind of work your way down. But we've got lower thirds. I showed you that. We have some sidebar ads. You can slide things in from the sides.
So the software is Mimo Live. Is there a variation that we need to know? Is it a type of Mimo Live?
There's different licensing depending on how you use it. It's just monthly. And what's cool is that when I have a client that needs to do an event, I'll just purchase the software for $20. And then after the event's over, I don't have to renew it. I have it for 30 more days. And if I want it, great. So I usually just do 30 days at a time. I use a client event for me as an excuse to have it for that month. But it's just built into my costs of producing an event like this for a client or a.
And so here it's saying it's $70 a month unless you're a nonprofit. Ava just was looking, $20 a month for nonprofits. So someone had a question over here.
Yep.
Hallie said there seems to be a bit of a lag on the 2-shot as opposed to the person's actual audio. Is there a way to prevent that? A different process?
You mean this shot or when they're side by side?
Hallie?
On this shot, is that what she's saying? Yeah.
Yeah, on the interview shot.
Got it. So what's happening is that I'm using a screen grab to take Robbie's video. So Robbie is going through the internet and I'm not. So that's why my lip sync might be a little bit more on and his might be not as crisp. The way that you could fix that problem is that you patch his audio into the program as well. So for the Miracy event that Robbie's talking about, we had 2 different Zoom calls going. We had one going for speaker audio and speaker camera to keep them in sync. And then we had a different Zoom call for everything else.
Cool. Was there some other shots that you wanted to show? I think we covered a lot of them.
You could do, no, we did. So there's some fun ones. You could do graphs. So there's you could do floating graphs and you can manipulate them on the fly. So you could change the colors. You could have these graphs ready to go. They all have nice animations and effects. We did the over the shoulder box. You can do analog clocks and I can manipulate. It's like once I have the layer on, I can move it around the screen. I'm just dragging this with my mouse to kind of move it around. Sidebar ads, we did split screen. That's the real basic of it. I mean, the magic that we wanted to really touch on today is if this is what you're used to. So this is what a lot of people are used to. For a little capture card and a better quality microphone, you can go from this shot to this and really just make yourself stand out a little bit in terms of quality. Switching from the computer would be a big plus, but this could be a great start.
Awesome. So let's unpin you.
Mm-hmm.
No, I actually don't think you're pinned right now.
I think you're pinned. Or, well, you're pinned on my screen, but spotlight maybe, unspotlight me.
You're actually spotlight anymore. All right, well, let's just try this. I'm going to spotlight me and then take myself off spotlight. It's really hard to do this. When I have the Rev Live captions thing and so many things happening in this top corner that in the recording happening that I can't actually see everything. So let's see some hands raised. One of the things that just happened because everyone just became a co-host, everyone just started recording you. So
right.
Brilliant.
Good thing I shaved.
Yeah, so that was great. I'm glad that people got a chance to review that as well. So you're all co-hosts for the next thing we're going to do in a couple of minutes, which is a fun little thing we've done the last couple of weeks. But before we do that, does anyone want to raise their hand in the participant box and ask a question that Anthony can try to answer? And if I missed your question in the chat, you go ahead and ask it again by raising your hand. Looking at the chat box and looking at the who's feeling like this is amazing. Go in the chat if you think this is amazing, and who thinks it's amazing and overwhelming. Oh, right, you can't raise your hands anymore because you're all co-hosts.
One of the questions is, how do I get $20 a month? I've been working in the software for many years, so perhaps I'm grandfathered in. If I'm giving you guys prices that aren't reflective on the website, I could talk to. I'd love to get, if everybody wants to shoot me a message, if you're interested in trying out the software, there's a free trial for 7 days that is completely, you could use it, find out if you like it. And then I could talk to the person. I know the people that make it. They live in Germany. So that's probably how I get the price that I get.
Anthony, this is Roger in Wisconsin. I got a quick question for you.
Yes, please.
The software you're using, Mimo Live, brilliant. What is it like eCom? Is it like OBS? Am I in the same ballpark?
It's essentially a technical director switcher software. It takes in all kinds of layers and it lets you just stack them and then call them up at the same time. That's what it's doing. So it's just saying, it allows you to use IP cameras, plugged in cameras that are connected to the computer, anything digital that you can send into the software or that the software can grab, it allows you to just manipulate it. And then it comes with these amazing layer stacks that I was kind of demoing. So over the shoulder, slide in, lower thirds. That's essentially what it does. Yeah.
So let me give you some other what things you could look at. So I typed in Mimo Live VS in Google. That's how I usually do my comparison shopping. OBS came up, Wirecast, and vMix. So I'll put all those in here. So if you want to spend the next little bit doing some trials.
Another great tip. If you're really interested in doing this a lot, Vimeo, and if you're for $75 a month, Vimeo.com has the ability. They have a live product, and when you do their live product, I'm trying to find it. They give you a software as well. So a lot of people are trying to do the same idea. There's a $75 a month plan that lets you go live with a chat, unlimited live events, and they include a very robust piece of software. So that's also an option to be as bipartisan as I can. It's not like I'm just tied to the software because I've been using it for so long, but everybody's doing the same idea. And the magic recipe that you really need to remember is that Zoom can take in video from anything. There's a piece of it's Zoom. You don't have to use a camera. Zoom is not taking in a camera for me. It's taking in a program and it's treating it like a camera. That's how you can do all this cool stuff. That's what makes it possible to switch between all these fun layers. It's just, I have just all this stuff is just open on my computer. So I'm just calling it at the right time.
I'm just going to answer Hallie's question is, can you technical direct for a separate host? The answer is yes. Essentially,
that's exactly what I did.
That is what he's doing right now. And that's what he did for the event that I shared the link for earlier for the Mercy event. He consulted with them about technical stuff. And in fact, they were planning to do, so a whole bunch of people are now co-hosts, so no one can actually answer that poll. So try not to hit the poll button. You're all co-hosts, so don't hit the poll button because then no one can answer it because we're all co-hosts. Let me cancel the spotlight. We're going to send people into rooms now. And if you have more questions, I put Anthony's. Anthony, you can take this stuff down.
Okay.
I can't figure out why we keep launching the poll. This is what happens when you give people control. They go mad with power.
I'm taking the chat. I'm going to copy it.
Anthony, and if you go to anthony@trueproductions.com, that's his email. We're not
happy
trying to
help
get
answer
poll.
questions.